Hello, hello, hello. It's Friday night with Big D, which means it's time for another edition of the Big D podcast. Before I bring in Robyn, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can see all my content. Got football, golf, track and field, walking. What else you want? So check out the Big D podcast for your audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. Next week, the first ever World Track and Field Championships will be taking place on American soil, and America's race walking queen Robyn Stevens will be taking part in the 20K a week from tonight. In fact, the race will be happening and will be finishing not that right about this same time, maybe a little earlier or later. So, Robyn, you ready for Eugene?
Yeah, ready as I can be.
So, Robyn, how's your training going? Because I think you have literally traveled halfway around the world. Like, I've seen you in California, I've seen you in Spain. Where the heck are you tonight?
Well, now the past couple weeks, I've been in Colorado, just outside of Boulder, training with my coach and my Spanish teammates. So my coach, Jacinto Garzon, is Spanish with the Spanish Federation. So they have their marathon and race walkers here. So I came here to meet up for some altitude training as we prep for World Championships. But I've only been home for a total of maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month this entire year.
I mean, if you could keep track of how many miles you traveled through the air, through coals, like how many miles have you traveled this year? And this is July 8th.
I don't know. And I have another, I plan to do, if I can figure out a way to get there, I plan to do the Silver Label World Athletics Race Walk Tour in France in September as well. So, but that'll be a quick there and back because I have my nephew's birthday to be at and can't miss that, and like some time with my family before the next season starts again.
Yeah, family time before next summer's Worlds in Budapest. So
yeah, because I'm after Oregon, since I'm pulled from the 35K, I'm gonna do one of my favorite road races, Wharf to Wharf. So right after, we're gonna spend a few days with my family. My fiance is coming out to watch, and then we're gonna spend a few days with my family at a cabin about an hour outside of Eugene, and then head down the coast to go to Wharf, which is in Santa Cruz, to do my favorite run. And then from there, we'll spend like a week, maybe, or a few days in Vacaville and a few days in Mojave and a day maybe in LA. And just so that my fiance, Carl George, can meet my best friend in person and mentor Susan and Cynthia. And then basically we're going to be driving for 3 to 4 days across the United States to Florida, which is where I'm going to be until, if they add the race walks to NACAC in the Bahamas, I'll be there until second week of August, then go to Bahamas, and then come straight back, and then fly to San Diego for a dental appointment for 1 day, and then fly from there to France for 3 or 4 days, and then back to Vacaville for my nephew's birthday, and then figure out how I'm going to get back to Florida or wherever my coach wants me to be for best training. I might end up in Mojave for altitude training.
good Lord, she's flying from Tampa to San Diego to France, and then maybe France back here
to San Francisco
good
for my nephew's birthday, and then maybe back to Tampa for like a week. Or I'm like, I got to look at the calendar and figure it out, because yeah, because it's beginning in September. We're gearing up for the 35K nationals for 2023. So
good Lord, you need NetJet to sponsor you.
I need what?
You need NetJet to sponsor you.
I need everyone to sponsor me at this point. I've basically been competing entirely pro bono this year. So #1 USA race walker, and I've made zero, zero money. So
That's
hoping to
until
make up for it next year.
we'll make up for it next weekend.
And next weekend, yeah, next weekend, hopefully, they've they need to figure out, they kind of like, I guess, lost the money for people who qualified. So we got our AAC president, vice president looking into that. So that's been a big question in the air all year for me too, because that's the only money I'll get this year, and I've been living entirely on a credit card, and if I don't pay it off, it's maxed out. Like I have like $56 left on it. If I don't pay it off by February of 2023, that interest is going to kick in and it's going to kill me. So I'm really hoping they pull through on the bonus that you make when you make a team. And then unfortunately, my opportunity to make money by placing top 8 was taken from me, because who knows what's going to happen in the 20K, but on the current rankings, if you look at my time for the 35K, I'm number 15. And I've placed 5th, which because of a hamstring issue, I was 4th when I was in Dudensk. And so I just feel like there was a good chance that I could have been a top 8, especially with all the Europeans and South Americans who are opting not to do the 35K. Because since 35K is not in the Olympics in 2024, most world athletics athletes are women coaches are opting for us to just keep focusing on the 20K. So I don't know how Budapest will work out, but since European Championships is only 2 weeks after Worlds, a lot of top European race walkers either opted not to come to Worlds or they're opted to only do the 20K. Like Maria Perez, for example, is number 1 or number 2 seated in the 35K, and she, I think number 2 behind Glinda, but she's opting for the 20K, and like that's what a lot of people are doing. So top 8 would have really helped me financially. And that was my best event for that to happen. Unfortunately, things need to be worked out majorly on selections and understanding what automatic qualifying means. But I don't think a lot of federations understand what automatic means. But when you have only one automatic qualifier and I'm the only automatic qualifier in the 35K, they're not sending me. You only have 3 automatic qualifiers in the long jump, but they're not sending Tara. So it's like, to me, it's like, it doesn't make sense. I know there's this nostalgia for Olympic trials, or trial system, but it really is so ancient. It's not up with the times. It's not sending our best athletes, because if you only have 3 or less automatic, those are the ones who should automatically be going. And the only time trials make sense is if you got to break a tie or there's more than 3 people that have the automatic time. So that's the history with that, but we'll see how the 20K goes. It'll be a little bit tougher to place top 8. And we'll see how everything works out with the heat. But I do know that it's unlike the Olympics, you're going to have like 4 people from a country in it instead of 3, because you have China who has 4 because they have the bye, because they won the Olympics. And then you're going to have, some others from like World Athletics Championships, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, we could talk. Yeah, we could talk for 3.5 hours about all these countries not sending athletes, and about how certain athletes can compete, because I've heard of like Ireland not sending athletes, Great Britain.
Yeah, I just read about Ireland before we met.
But yet, I keep hearing, but yet some athletes like Dalil Muhammad didn't even compete at the World Championship trials and may be able to compete because she's got the buy-in.
She has the buy.
2019 world champ. I mean, it sounds a little funky.
Yeah, it is. It is. We'll talk about that after the race. We can get way more into it after July 15th.
Yeah, yeah, I'll be in the air. So I'll actually be land. I'll hopefully land in Illinois right at about the time you race.
Oh, what are you doing in Illinois?
Seeing family and friends.
Oh, fun.
I
Well,
need Peacock. I need my laptop and iPad. Yeah, one laptop may be on the open, and one laptop will be on your race.
awesome.
Yeah. So obviously you're in Colorado, and it's interesting that a lot of runners and walkers choose altitude train when you're going to be competing in heat and humidity. When you're competing in heat and humidity, I mean, are there more advantages to training at altitude than maybe at a warm place like oh wait, South Florida?
Yeah. Well, Florida is hot and below sea level, so it doesn't really give a lot, and it's high humidity, so you're losing a lot of water. It's hard to replace it. Like I'm having a hard enough time. I drink on average 64 ounces of fluids a day, and I was reading that when you get close to 8,000 feet of altitude, you're supposed to double what you normally drink. Well, it's really hard to get over 120 ounces a day. I tried that in Vegas in 2019 and 18, and I could not get enough. Like I was drinking all day, peeing all day, and I still was dehydrated. Like I just couldn't get like, and I would get over 120, 122 ounces. So the heat, if the more you lose, you got to be able to replenish that too. So the advantage of going to altitude is it's taken me a bit of an adjustment period here. I've never been this high. The highest I've ever been is about half this height. And Guadix was where I've been training for the first quarter of the year. And then where I train in Mojave, that's about 400, 500 feet higher than Guadix. So that's the highest I've ever been. And then here, it's so cute. My Spanish teammates keep asking me like where things are, where could we see the fireworks, where do we get testing, as if I know this place. And I have to describe to them like, you know what, before this training camp, I had never been outside of the Denver airport. So maybe briefly, I saw Colorado Springs last summer for like a day, like for like 2 hours. But I was trying to describe it to him. I was like, each state is like a different country. The only thing we have in common is that here in the States, we all speak English. And some of us speak different English, depending if you're from the South, the middle, the East, or the, the North and the West. But other than that, like, you know, I have to navigate and figure out where things are. So it's been kind of fun. I'm just like, well, let me look it up. Let me see where's the best place to see fireworks. Where's the best place to get tested? But the altitude helps open up your blood cells. You know, so you're used to training high intensity, working harder. You know, so it's harder to breathe. So then when you go down to sea level, it's easier. It feels easier. Like it's just a psychological thing. So I know here it's been, I think we've only had 2 days where it felt good, which gives me hope because the days that felt good is the same temperature that's going to be in Oregon for our race, or at least what's predicted. Because all the other days have been like over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and in the morning, it's like 88, like this morning, it was 88 Fahrenheit. At 8:30 a.m.
Holy
So
cow!
yeah,
Eight
so I'm
thousand feet above sea level.
yeah, so we're definitely preparing ourselves for the heat and like feeling harder than what hopefully it'll feel when we get to sea level. I know the Germans are in Arizona right now. They've been there the past 3 weeks and for altitude as well. And it's hotter there than here. So hopefully for all of us that have been training up at altitude where it's hot, it'll feel really good in Eugene. Even
Yeah,
on a hot day in Eugene.
yeah. I've never been to Colorado. If anybody has been in the airport, like the Denver airport's in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I'll give you a high five there because that was me before these past 2 weeks. I'm like, I know the Denver airport, the LA airport, and the San Francisco airport super well. Oh, and Chicago airport. Like,
Which one? O'Hare?
yeah, O'Hare. but like I've spent so many hours because I used to travel standby before standby was for just anyone who flies. We used to get a really good deal. My dad, because he had worked there since like the 70s. And so until I was 25, I had priority where I could fly standby sometimes in first class for $12. And
Hot
but
dog.
yeah, but that was the only way I could travel as an athlete when I was under 20. Otherwise, my parents couldn't afford to get me anywhere. But the trade-off is I'd have to plan to leave a week before my race in case I don't get on a flight, which would often happen. So I've spent the night, countless nights. Like I related with Terminal in some ways. The Terminal with the guy from Tom Hanks, like where I've had to straighten my hair in the airport, shave, in the airport because I've been there for like 3 days waiting to get on a plane.
Hey, you going just fine with everybody else at airports now because nobody can get on a flight.
That's true. That now it's normal with COVID. All the flights getting canceled and rebooted to the next one. I mean, we'll see if we get there. You get to let me know you get to Illinois. I'll let you know if I get to Eugene on Monday.
Yeah, I was thinking you're flying to Eugene on Sunday or Monday.
On Monday. Yeah, because
typically,
for altitude, you don't want to come down before more than 4 days before a race.
yeah, it's usually 72 hours before a race, thereabout.
Yeah.
So thinking about your race, I mean, who do you think will be tough? Because you think back to last year and the Italians dominated the 20K race walk, but and I'm trying to say, and so my who won it? It's Antonella. Is that her name? Is that her name? Yeah, Antonella. And
I don't want to even try because I'll probably butcher the name too. So
I'll just say the Italian girl.
the Italian.
Yes. The Italian.
Yeah. So it'll be between her probably and the Chinese are always strong. And they're sending 4 this year. And then Maria Perez, my Spanish teammate, she definitely will be up there. So it'll be interesting how it plays out. I'm obviously biased. I'm going for my teammate.
I mean, what are your goals? Because what are your goals in the race? Is there a certain place you want?
No, mostly just I want to have a smart race and place higher than I did at the Olympics. And that's pretty much it. I have my targets, but I don't know what will be realistic until I get there, when I feel the heat, I feel how my body feels. I feel good. So we'll see, but I never like to put all my eggs in one basket. I try to listen. I'm really good at listening to my body. And then on race day, I know, like I wake up, I feel it and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It's going to be tactical. That's what, Olympics and Worlds, because of the time of year they are, it's always a tactical race over a time trial.
Yeah, because you see these Diamond League race on the track and they look more like sprints, but then you see Worlds Olympics and it's wait till a bomb goes off, and then all of a sudden it's like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Yeah, who's gonna take it? Who's gonna be the brave one to take it? Especially the men's race. They always have this big pack, and then it's like, all right, is Percy gonna take it? Evan gonna take it? Who's gonna take it?
Because you probably saw that men's 5K in Eugene a couple of weeks ago where the Bauman track club ran a team time trial.
Yeah. I actually didn't see it, but I've watched enough. One of my favorite races to watch are the 5K and the 10K. So normally when I wasn't there, so if I was there, I would have definitely watched. I do. One of the things I love about why I love watching the 10K and 5K is the same reason why I like watching the race walks. Is you can have this big group, and it's not until the final few laps. In the 10K and 5K, it could be the last 200. and someone or the last 400, and all of a sudden you think you know who's going to win. I remember in Toronto at NACAC a few years ago, it was like I was watching, I don't remember if it was the 10K or I think it was the 10K, but you thought you knew who was going to win. And then the guy that was 200 meters back starts to sprint at 600 meters and ends up winning by like 50 meters. It was so fun to watch. So like those are the things, like, so it might start off, and then traditionally, like with marathons, when I log on, if I want to watch like the CIM race or Boston or New York, I usually wait until about mid race to watch, because I know the beginning is just going to be a big pack.
And the person who runs out stupid fast and gets a 2-minute lead, like
Yeah. Usually those are the amateurs, or it's been decided that they already, maybe their team decided that person's going to be the rabbit to try to get someone else to go after them, knowing that they're probably not going to be a medalist. So it's all tactic. It's either amateur or tactic.
So
that's why it's good to just know your body. You know your body, doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, because if you're training right, you're eating right, you're hydrated right, and you know yourself, it really doesn't matter what anybody else does.
So as you know, Eugene is hosting the first World Championships taking place on American soil. How big is it for the U.S. to host a World Championship? Because we've seen all these great athletes compete in all different events, and now it's happening in our backyard at Hayward Field starting next week.
Yeah, well, the Hayward is the place to have it. They have the first, for Americans to truly experience the amazingness of, and just the depth of just truly fast athletes and strong, because you can't leave out the field events, and it's got to be in there's no better place than Hayward Field. Unfortunately, I don't know what it's like to compete on the new track, just because the race walks aren't ever on the track. Back in the old days, we would compete on, when I was running and race walking, we'd compete on the old Hayward Field, which has this magic to it. I really miss it, actually. But this place, like, you can walk around, people know what race walk is. People know, they like, the front cover of the newspaper is track and field, not football, not hockey, not basketball. It is track and field, and it'd be like pages of it, like 5 pages of the sports section. So that part's exciting, and I really hope that they pull through and with tradition and showing the rest of the world that, especially in race walk, because I know, like, my teammates here, they're like, oh, but Americans don't really they don't really understand race walk, do they? So there's not going to be a big crowd out there. And I was like, if there's going to be any place where there's a crowd, it'll be in Eugene for race walk in America. And we've always had a great turnout for Olympic trials. Last year, and in 2016 Olympic trials, so we had it in Springfield. I'm trying to remember where it was, in Salem, and 2016, and we had a great turnout. And it's a turnout you're not going to get in any other state in the U.S. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
I will say this: the crowd, the World Championship trial crowd was pitiful. It looked like a spring training crowd in Arizona or Florida. I mean, they were like 3,000 people.
I think part of it is it's really expensive, more expensive than other World Championship tickets. And I mean, in Doha, they were giving out the tickets for free the first few days.
Yeah, because nobody was going there.
Yeah, because it's so hot. But I know that because they've had so much going on in Oregon on Hayward Field. So we had Prefontaine Classics, we've had the under 20 national championships there, we had NCAAs there, and it's all been back to back to back, and it's super expensive. So I think a lot of people are saving up. Another thing is we have World Athletic Rankings. There's no real need for trials except for the sprints. So I think that's what a lot of people have realized too. We also didn't even have our senior race walk in that event. It was under 20s. We didn't have our senior level there. So you're not going to have that fan base there. Delilah Muhammad's not competing. You're not going to have that fan base there to see the Sydney Delilah. Like everybody loves watching that. There's just a lot where they're like, yeah, I'm going to wait till Worlds where I get to see more of the people I know are going to be there, because it's not guaranteed that they're going to be, that they were at the trials. Plus trials doesn't really, with the world ranking system, it really does only make sense for the sprints.
So besides your race walking events, what's one event you can't wait to watch, and who's one athlete you can't wait to see in Eugene?
Honestly, I wanted to stay and watch the women's 35K, but I'm going to be on the road on the way to Wharf. So probably the marathon.
Which
I'd
one?
really like to see, well, I'd really like to see how Sarah does, just because I used to compete against her, and this is her first world she's made that isn't cross country. So I just want to see how she fares, and in her own, she is from California, and for us Californians, like Oregon's like our cousin. And I know like every summer when we were younger, we'd always go up to Prefontaine Classics, the big, the one for the high schoolers before pre. And so I think that'll be kind of special for her. And so it'd be fun to watch. And then the person though that I'm really looking forward to watching and seeing how she does is Delilah Muhammad. I really, really, I got to kind of, I don't know her personally, but just seeing her interact in Tokyo and listening, just hearing how she conducts herself, like she's a good woman. Like she's admirable and impressive to watch. So
I think you've got the right event, but I really like seeing the 400-meter hurdles. I mean, Sydney McLaughlin.
yeah, the hurdles are painful to watch sometimes when they fall.
Hey, your walkers and race for an hour and a half. The hurdles are done in 51 seconds.
At the slowest, yeah.
No, but I love seeing Sydney McLaughlin, Delilah Muhammad, Femke Bol. The fact that all three of them could break the world record, something.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
Hopefully, Carsten Wilhelm is healthy, because we barely seen him at all. The one race he did run, he didn't last long because he wrecked the hamstring. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, there's always a surprise at an Olympics or
yeah.
World Championships on the track, and
Oh yeah. Oh, even on the course. Look at you have David Tomwala of Poland was not expected to win gold whatsoever, even come close to gold. He wins gold in the 50K in Tokyo. And
everybody
and then you have
thought
Molly Seidel, who just was like, I'm just gonna go out and see if I can stay in the top 3.
and everybody thought he was crazy for coming out that fast. And not only he won the race, the next guy, he dominated. Like if you feel great, your train's going well, you can handle it.
Exactly. If you know your body, you got to listen to your body.
So thanks for hopping on, Robyn. We wish you the best. Go kick some what in Eugene, and fly. It's usually because I'm an FGCU Eagle alum, we say fly like an eagle, but but this time we're gonna say fly like an American eagle.
Nice.